Good morning. My name is Mr. Mwangi, and I want to take you through our lesson today. Today, our subject is science, and what we are going to learn today can be used by pupils in class 5, 6, 7, and 8. So, this lesson is meant for class 5 and 6, but we welcome pupils from class 7 and class 8. So the topic today is the breathing system or the human respiratory system, which is under the unit by the name human body. It is very important for you to understand how your body operates. And under this unit, you're going to learn the breathing system, you're going to learn about the digestive system, you're going to learn about blood circulation, how your heart pumps blood, how your food is digested, and how minerals are absorbed from the system. But today, I want us to go through the breathing system. Number one, because it is very important for us to know how it is done, and also to know how to take care of our parts of the breathing system. Maybe even before I start, we understand that we are having this virus called coronavirus, and it affects the breathing system. Yeah, it brings problems in breathing. So probably after this topic, you understand how coronavirus is affecting you, because I know you've read from maybe papers, you've watched in the news, you've heard people speak about it and how people are getting difficult in breathing. So we start by setting our objectives of the lesson. By the end of this topic, you should be able to identify the main parts of the breathing system. I'm saying main parts because there are other parts that are not as main. They are mentioned, but depending on their purpose and their functions, they are not main. They are not very important. Number two, you're supposed to be able to state the functions of the parts of the breathing system. It is not enough to know the main parts, but it is also important you understand their functions. You have a nose, you have lungs, you have the windpipe, which is also known as trachea, you have the diaphragm. It is very important for you to understand their functions, in a deep way. So let's start. The diagram that I have today here is that is a sketch of the human breathing system. We have the nose, we have the pharynx, larynx. These are not main. We have trachea, we have alveoli, we have the lungs. We have this left lung and the right lung, and then we have the rib, yes, and then we have the diaphragm. So in this diagram, we identify the main parts, which are the nose, the trachea, the bronchus, the lungs, and the diaphragm. So in case you are asked in an exam to identify the main parts of the breathing system, please note that these are the main parts, and Yeah, they have very, very important functions they play in ensuring that you breathe properly at all given time, at any given time. So we start with the functions. We start with the nose. Yes, your nose is not just for breathing, and it has other functions, and I decided to add even more functions that are maybe not in this level, but it is important that you understand them. So number one, the function of the nose. Your nose is the main route for breathing. Yes, it is the main route, even though we use the mouth sometimes, but the nose is the main route for breathing. Number two, your nose humidifies the air you breathe, meaning that to humidify is to add moisture, to the air that you breathe. Sometimes, especially during dry days, the air that we breathe is dry. It is not wet, it's not moisture, it is not moist. So the work of the nose, that's why your nose is always wet. Yes, your nose is always wet, and that is how it should be. If it gets dry, you even feel uncomfortable. So your nose humidifies the air you breathe. The other function is that your nose cleans the air you breathe. You've seen some hair. You've seen hair inside your nose, or maybe if you look at your friend, you find some hair inside their nose. The work of the air or the hair is to trap any solid particle that might be in that hair. Any solid particle that might be in that air. So the other function, the other function of the nose is to clean the air that you you breathe. So very important. The other one is that your nose regulates the temperature of the air you breathe. Yes. If the air that you breathe is very hot, it is the responsibility or the function of the nose to cool it. And if it is very cold, then the nose warms the air so that it doesn't reach the lungs when it is very, very cold. All right. The other function, the ones that I've highlighted in red, are the most important, or maybe the ones that are in your level. But we have the fifth one, which is that your nose protects you, and this is how it protects you. It has numerous nerve endings, and the work of the nerve endings is to regulate your sense of smell. So by just detecting maybe dangerous substances in the air, the nose detects, smells, and takes the message to the brain, and you either vacate the environment or you correct something if there's something wrong. For example, if you are just seated and all of a sudden you smell maybe some leaking gas, your nose takes the message to the brain, and the brain interprets the message, and then you take action. You either go and check what is wrong, or you just run away. You vacate the room. So that is how your nose protects you. Your nose shapes the sound of your voice. Yes, it regulates the voice box. If you close the nose with your fingers and maybe say something or try to sing, you realize that your voice is altered. So by allowing air to pass through smoothly, your nose helps in shaping the sound of your voice. All right, so that is the nose. We move to the trachea. The trachea, also known as wheat pipe, has also very important functions. The first one is that it is just a passage of air to the lungs. Yeah, so when you inhale the air, it goes direct to the lungs through the trachea, and also when you exhale air, remember the air that you breathe in, which is inhaling, is rich in oxygen, but the air that you breathe out, which is also called exhaling, is rich in carbon dioxide. So the trachea is a passage where air passes to the lungs. So the other one is that in the trachea there's what we call the mucus lining. The same case applies to the nose. We're saying that the nose humidifies the air you breathe. It is because of the mucus, mucus that is in the nose. Now, when it comes to the trachea, also it has a mucus lining, and the work of the mucus lining again is to trap foreign substances. Could be dust particles, could be pieces of unwanted stuff, something that you should not inhale. And if accidentally that foreign object, maybe a particle, gets to the trachea, it gets irritated, and it induces coughing. So you just start coughing, and that is a natural way in which your body reacts to foreign objects that are not supposed to enter into the respiratory system. So you just start coughing. If it is in the nose, you sneeze, but if it is in the trachea, you cough, and the coughing expels the object that has accidentally entered the trachea. In case of cold air, the trachea also helps, just like the nose, helps to humidify and warm the air entering the lungs. And in case the air is hot than it's supposed to be, then the heat is carried away and then exhaled, and then before it is taken to the lungs. So it helps also in regulating the temperature of the air that we breathe. Now we go down now to bronchus. So bronchus is the singular form of bronchi. We just call them bronchi or bronchi, and they are just extension. It's just an extension of the wheat pipe. So the work of the bronchus in singular form is to pass the gas. Yes, it is a passage, just like the trachea, where oxygen is inhaled and carbon dioxide is exhaled. So these passages are also known as conducting zones. So they conduct the air into and out of the breathing system, or rather the lungs. So the bronchus has what we call cartilage. Is a muscle lining that is a connective tissue that provides support for physical process. I want you to maybe imagine a position whereby your bronchus was just falling, falling back and maybe opening when the air is passing. What do you think will happen? Probably it might collapse when it's supposed to be opening. Just like maybe the esophagus, the food pipe. It expands when food is passing. But for bronchus, it is important that it is always open. So the cartridge you're talking about here helps the bronchus to stay open. It prevents the collapsing of the bronchus during the inhalation and exhalation, because it is very dangerous. And also, air conduction involves pressure that can damage soft tissues if not protected. So the cartridge is not soft. It is hard enough to withstand the pressure of the air moving in and out of the lungs. So again, it has mucus lining, which is thick, and it traps foreign particles from entering the lungs. I think from the three parts you have understood that, or rather you've come to realize that the greatest enemy to the respiratory system is anything that is foreign, anything that is coming from outside the body. So it's like all the three major parts fight together to fight any foreign object that might find itself within the system, in the system. So if it survives the nose, it won't survive the trachea, and again now we see it gets now to the bronchus, so it is eliminated. All right, so we move on to the lungs. The lungs are just like balloons. Actually, they are balloon-like. Yeah, their work is just to get air that is inhaled. Yeah, and after the air is absorbed into the blood, get the air full rich in carbon dioxide out. So it expands to accommodate air that is being inhaled and compresses to expel carbon dioxide as a waste gas that the body produces. So I want you just to imagine the lungs as just like balloons. They don't have muscles to pump the air in and out. They do so with the help of the ribs. Yes, you can touch the ribs, the work of the ribs, and another part that we are calling the diaphragm. So these together, when you're inhaling and exhaling, they compress or relax to regulate the air that gets into and out of the lungs. And finally, we have the diaphragm. The diaphragm is very, very important, a very, very important part in this breathing system. It is perhaps the most important muscle in the body after the heart. Of course, the heart is the most important, but maybe from the heart is the diaphragm. It helps in breathing. The diaphragm is dome-shaped, meaning that it is curved. It's a sheet of muscle below the chest. It separates the lungs and heart from the abdomen. So if you maybe put your fingers where the ribs are, the end of the ribs, that is where you feel the diaphragm. So the work, it separates the heart and the lungs from the other part of the abdomen. So what happens during inhalation? When you inhale, the diaphragm straightens and compresses downwards. That is to create enough room for air into the lungs. And when you're exhaling, that is breathing out, the diaphragm relaxes and returns into its shape. So that pushes air out. Yeah, that pushes the air that is inside the lungs out. So, and that is the continued process of compressing downwards, relaxing, and pushing upwards is what regulates our breathing. So it is very important. Maybe you can try to you can try to inhale, that is breathe in, and I want us to breathe in together. Breathe in, breathe out. So that is you can feel the movement of your body, the central part of your body, where we have the ribs and we have the diaphragm. So that is it. We're going to take a short break, and after this break I will come back with a video that will illustrate more about the process of breathing. See you later.